9-6, and he put you all in for $800,000 for your tournament life.
I remember it well.
Can you break that down more and what was going through your mind? Because that was a sick call.
That was a sick call. It was really the only time I was ever on the tournament, and it's a call I don't know if I would make now. It's sort of a double-edged sword. I'm a better player now, so I have a better chance. But I took more chances back then when I thought I was right. I followed my gut. I'd been playing with Dutch for like 5 hours by that point, and I knew he was a real creative, aggressive player. I mean, he was ahead of his time as far as his aggression. He was always putting pressure on people. He was one. At that point, there was 14 people left, maybe 15 people left, and him and Amir Vahidi were really the only two people that were being overly aggressive and being creative with their hands. No one else was really doing that. Even Sammy was, pretty much a low key. He was tired or whatever by this point. But these were the only two guys that were really 3-betting and playing a lot of hands. And he opened up in middle position with King Queen, and we're both really deep. So seeing a flop with a pair of threes is pretty standard. I'm set mine, of course, is what I'm thinking when I make this call. And it everybody, our effective stack size in the World Series of Poker is such that you're super deep. Everybody's pretty much super deep. So I'm not really worried about a squeeze play or anything like that too much. Again, none of the players at this table are doing any of these aggressive plays. So I'm not really worried about getting re-raised out of the hand. So I can see the flop with a pair of threes, try to flop a 3 and try to get all his chips. But right when I made the call with the 2 threes, I noticed that he just sort of glanced at me and shot me a look like, I'm uncomfortable with you calling, Chris. I felt in my gut, and this again, I don't know if I make this call today, I felt that he didn't have a very strong hand. He had, 2 random cards like King Jack, King Queen, Ace King, Ace Queen, somewhere in that range where he didn't want to be playing out of position. When we're both pretty deep, we're 13, we're 13 people left in the main event. It's just not a situation where you don't want to be playing a pot against someone. He wants to be able to run the table over and just steal pots. So when I did call, I just felt like it's like he's not comfortable with my call. So the flop comes 2-4-9, and he checks. Given the fact that I really felt like he was uncomfortable, I really felt like he would, if he did have any of that stuff, he would protect his hand, he would lead out, and try to get information by just leading out. The only hands I'm really worried about at this point are pocket 9s, maybe pocket 4s or pocket 2s. That's the only hands he can have in these spots. That makes sense with the line that he took. So when he checks, what they don't show on TV is when I went to go bet my 100,000, I nudged my chips because I was really nervous. I nudged my chips and all my chips fell everywhere. I made a complete mess all over the table. All my chips, I had them stacked up in double size $400 or 440 chip stacks, and they all just crashed down. So I'm like, oh, crap. But I went ahead and made my $110,000 bet or whatever it was, because I felt at the time I had the best hand. I was going to take it down right there, and that was going to be it. And then when he moved all in, I was like, oh, crap, I just spilled my chips. What does that mean? I'm thinking all that, and I'm trying to think, that's obviously a sign of weakness. He knows I'm nervous. I had a read on him that, he doesn't have a whole lot. I know he's aggressive. I mean, if all else fails, I can catch a 3 and maybe be good. I don't know. I guess I call, and I think you have high cards, so I'm going to ask for low. That was the hand. It was not fun. But, me not, there's some dynamics there. If it wasn't against him, with him being the one guy that's 3-bet and 4-bet a lot that day, and me spilling my chips and knowing that he knows I'm nervous and I'm an amateur and I want to make it deep, and of course he does too. And the money's life changing for everybody at this point except for maybe Sammy. So everybody's trying to play really cautiously except for him. He was the only one that was sort of stepping out of bounds, so stepping out of line a lot. And anybody else at the table makes the play, I fold. But against him, I just felt like I was right.
But would you fold that now today with how poker changed, or still make that same call?
I'd probably fold, but I don't know. It's the thing with hands like that, it's in the moment. It's everything we've talked about here. It's all about your player feel, and again, his hands right there really should be really polarized. I mean, he's either got a big aces, kings, a set of 9s, or he's got complete air. More times than not, he doesn't have complete air. I mean, more times than not, he's got the good side of it. So I probably today give him more respect than I did, and I probably lay it down today. I may 3-bet him though pre-flop. I don't know. I don't know how I would play today compared to to then. It was a very tough situation, and it was just the heat of the moment. I felt I was right now. And back then, if I felt I was right, sometimes I feel I'm right now, and I think I'll find a better spot. It's okay. There's better spots at tournaments than for me to risk my tournament life here. I'm better now, so I can afford to fold these hands and not make these tough decisions where I think I'm right, but I'm not sure. Back then, I wasn't really confident in my game. If I felt like I was right and I felt like I had any chance to win a hand, I was going for it. I was going to take chances and I was going to try to win. I told Dan that the first 3 or 4 days of the World Series of Poker, I didn't do anything but just fold. I mean, I played really, really tight. I hit flop sets, flop big hands. Other people made mistakes against me and I capitalized on them, but I played really tight. And it wasn't until day 3 when I made the move with pocket eights against Umberto that I actually started opening up my hand ranges and trying to make moves. And by that time, I was pretty comfortable at the table. I felt like I had a good idea where people were. I woke up that morning, I felt really good. So I followed my gut, and thank God it held. Or I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
I have a question. How many people are going to, for sure, right now as you sit here, know you're going to 4-bet today in that tournament in the first 3 levels? I mean, I'm certain I will in the first level. But I mean, just 4-bet for any reason. How important is that, or is that just me buying into the hype of this whole thing?
It's different. 4-betting online is huge because people 3-bet you